Great. So, my name's Nicola. I run an organisation called Flourish Together. I just want to welcome people along, both in person and perhaps who are listening again to this Mentor-a-thon information session. I've been running Flourish Together now for over 14 years. We do all sorts of things from social enterprise support, leadership development, civic leadership development. We run all sorts of holistic health and well-being training courses, and we run all sorts of events and wacky, innovative things that hopefully gets people talking, gets them creating social action, innovation, and builds a strong social economy, all being well. And we reinvest our profits in supporting women as a force for social change, something very close to our heart. And we've supported over 3,000 women to create social and ethical ventures in Greater Manchester alone over the last decade. I'm coming to you tonight because we're partnering with something we've set up called Manchester Social Economy Alliance. We've set this up in partnership with MAC, which for some of you may know is the CVS, the Council for Voluntary Services, or local infrastructure organisation for Greater Manchester. And we formed this alliance to help diversify and innovate support for social enterprises, charities, community organisations in Manchester, particularly those that are a little bit more entrepreneurial in their thinking, and are a bit of a broader church or broader space for people who are trying to earn a living and make a difference, or find entrepreneurial solutions to social issues. So, whether you're an individual, whether you've been running a charity or a social enterprise for years, whether you're starting up, scaling up, this space is for you. The great thing about the event that's coming up, Flourish works predominantly with diverse women, but when we work with the Manchester Social Economy Alliance, we work with men, women, all genders to support them in their path and their journey to creating strong social economy organisations. So that's how this has come about. And this mentor-a-thon, so gosh, I've not got the stats, but we've ran many. I created this concept 12 or 13 years ago, maybe more actually. I've done it before Flourish, way before. So I bet this has been going 15 years. Um, I've set this thing up because people often don't get good cross-sector support when you're setting up a social organisation, community organisation, social enterprise. You're straddling different places, you're straddling different communities, different sectors like health, education, justice, environment, health, all sorts of different things. And a really cross-sector approach to what you're doing can really help. So as you'll come to see, there's lots of benefits for this kind of thing. I'm just going to move our slides along. So, this really is just a quick introduction to what this stuff is. Like I say, we've been running them for years. They're tried and tested. We've run them with over 200 people now over the period, 10 or 15 years that I've been running them. I should really get my stats together, shouldn't I? And there's oodles of benefits from this light touch, informal but really powerful little troubleshooting session that you could benefit from if you decide to apply. Normally, we just do a day of these things, but in teaming up with Mac and in knowing that there's quite a lot of people needing support in different ways right now, we've got a 2-day extravaganza, as I'd call it. Now, people can come for one day, they can come for both days. It's entirely up to you. I'm going to walk you through what's happening on these days. If people listen to this and they think, oh, I'm not sure I want to apply to have a sounding board session, there's other things going on at this 2-day event. There are at least three workshops happening each day that are all about growing social enterprises, including things like, so we're just mulling this through at the moment, but there's bound to be a session on governance. There's bound to be a session on finance. There'll be sessions on procurement and procurement readiness. And then there might be a session on space to be you. People get very busy running their ventures and just taking a step back to think, what about me in this? And my own self-care and my own goals for myself, not just my community and this snowball that rolls. And I think there's likely to be a discussion around, charity versus kick. Sounds a bit aggressive and controversial, not meant to be, but there are some changes in the way that things are being run and governed and funded right now. And we just want to create some open space for discussion, as well as some training workshops around the edges of this mentor-a-thon this time. So just letting you know, there's that also going on. The other thing I'll make you aware of, you'll come to hear, is we've got a soup event happening in the middle of it. So the dates and the days run from about 9 in the morning, 9:30 till sort of 4:30. Most people would just get invited for their mentor-a-thon session. They might get invited to come for longer to be a mentor as well as a mentee, as we call it. Or you can just come to your session and come for as long as you like. When you see the program of what's happening, you might think, oh, brilliant, I'm going to come to this workshop. I'm going to come to that workshop. I'll have my sounding board session and I might stay for the soup event happening 4:30 till about 6:30ish on the 7th. And that might be it. Or you might decide to come back on the 8th and vice versa. So you'll see it's a pick and mix opportunity for you. So I'll come back to this point about expressions of interest and the fact that they're open till the 30th of December, but this is what we're going to just quickly cover. So, what is a mentor-a-thon? Basically, you know, it's a kind of mini mentoring marathon, and we combine sort of peer mentors with experts in their field, with fellow change makers, and we create these impartial sounding boards. Typically, your sounding board's about 45 minutes, and we say that it's a good little catalyst, the light bulb moments that happen, the affirmation that you gain from a session like this. Often it's a lonely journey running what you're doing, and a lot of what you know is rattling around in your head. And it's a bit of a weird experience, a format as you'll come to see. But it's a really good way of hearing people describe what you're doing and echo back to you what you're doing, as well as opening new doors, accessing new contacts, maybe revisiting things, looking at things in a new light. And obviously that we have got the option for a number of people across the 2 days who will access some cash. It's not a huge amount of money. I think our cash awards are going to be in the region of sort of 150 to £300 is typically, so it's not mega bucks, but the troubleshooting session you use yourself you might bring the topic of income generation or funding, generating sales, marketing. You might bring the topic of growing a team. I've got this kick thing or I've got this charity, but how do I govern it well? What do I need to do? I feel a bit out of my depth. It might be something completely different around getting into certain sectors or industries. It could be about measuring impact. It could be you're trying to leave work to set this thing up. It could be about time management, absolutely anything. Whatever the challenges that you're facing right now in growing and evolving your venture is the challenge that you could bring to the table. And a great group of brains who are supportive, can grapple with this challenge with you to see if we can help you come up with some new options, new solutions. And like I say, reaffirm a lot of what you've already been trying. So, let's get my arrows working. There we go. So the whole purpose of it is, as I said, to help you overcome challenges. People who come to these sessions, the mentors, come from public, private, and third sector or voluntary community sector. We're really trying to increase your confidence, increase your networks, increase your decision making. Increase your decision making sort of capabilities point, but also hear different troubleshooting styles. We all have our own way of doing things, but it's good to hear from different people and different ways that people might approach a challenge, because that's what innovates things. That's what changes your mindset or your perspective to look at something in a different way or try something new that you might not have looked at. And there's a whole range of challenges that we've looked at before there. I mentioned a few before. The other thing that people sometimes do in a session like this, if it's relevant, it might be that you've been working in isolation for a while and maybe you've developed a new product or a new service. You can use this group as a little bit of a market research group as well. All manner of things. So we'll come back with some questions if people have got them shortly. The benefits for you, the benefits for what we call a mentee. This is a really informal forum. It's not a dragon's den. It's an informal, supportive space where you can troubleshoot something that's a stumbling block for you, or you need to learn more about, or you want to access connections around, and we help you troubleshoot this. We hope that it's a really useful opportunity to reflect. As I've said, get lots of perspectives and, but you will be challenged. You might come out of your comfort zone. But it's a supportive space at the end of the day, and hopefully it's an arena in which to be taken seriously, particularly if people have not had access to much support yet, or something's new and they've not got it out there. It's a space for us to listen and for you to, be heard with what it is and where it is you're going with what you're trying to do. And yeah, it should give you some useful time to reflect, new contacts, alternative solutions, and wider insight ultimately. So, mentors, you might be listening to this, and I'm sure there's people on the call here, and there'll be people listening back. Um, Apply with your little expression of interest to have a sounding board session of your own, but don't underestimate your own knowledge, your own skills, your own networks, your own ability. Not necessarily to sign up to be a mentor and sign your life away to mentoring. That's not what this is about. But you could be a really useful brain around the other side of the table. So you might come and troubleshoot a challenge for one part of the event, but you might come for a number of hours around the edges of that to support others and be part of this process that I'll just show you in a second. Because the mentors gain as much as the mentees from this stuff, both, seeing how different civic leaders and social entrepreneurs are grappling with challenges. It's a space to connect and network with other people in an informal and innovative way. Seeing other people's leadership and troubleshooting styles is always helpful. It gives you opportunity to reflect. All these challenges that come to the table are challenges that lots of businesses or charities or organizations will face, whatever stage they're at. And it's good to get that check in and remind yourself of, oh, well, how am I tackling this challenge? And, what can I learn from these solutions? And everybody takes something away from every session they're part of. This collective knowledge and skills to make a difference. There is that give back and a kind of a reciprocity of support there. And, I call it sort of developing skills to be able to lead outside of your authority. Sometimes we all get a bit too in our box or think, oh, we've got to wait for somebody to tell us how to do something or to tell us when. But this is a way we can just get on with it. You don't have to wait till some business advisor or some, public sector worker or some charity support person has time to help you. We're going to help each other. And it's a really powerful thing. So I'm just going to move it along. So I'm just going to show you the format because it is a bit weird. We'll tell you this and people who, sign up and want to have a session, we will remind people what it's all about. But this is just a quick view of the format. So what happens, it's a bit weird. It's called the bear pit method for anybody who works in coaching and life coaching or that sort of thing. But basically, the chair, whoever's chairing the session, we have, it'd be me or one of my colleagues or somebody from Mac. We just introduce things. We just do a quick round of who's who, of who we are. So the mentee coming in knows who they're talking to. There's nothing worse than going in and nobody says who they are, what they're about, and you're talking to these faces and you don't know where they're from and what the perspectives are. So we make sure we let you know who we are. Then the mentee gets sort of the floor really for 5 to 8 minutes to just say who they are, any issues that they're trying to address, so who they are and what they're developing, what they've been running, any issues you're trying to address and what you've done towards that. I guess the stage you're at and with your adventure and your journey, and reiterate sort of the specific challenge that you'd like us to address. And then and there is in the expression of interest form, you are asked these questions. So you have somewhat prepared for this. And, they're not difficult questions, particularly to answer, hopefully. And you can be as honest, or as candid as you wish. And then we just have some clarifying questions to check we've understood what we've heard. And then this is the weird bit where the mentee, if you come and pitch a challenge, once we've heard you and we've clarified what you said, you get to sit back, put your feet up, let go of the baby, and listen to this weird conversation. And it's a bit like it may be bit like the conversation that's in your head from one week to the next. We basically grapple with this challenge for you, so you can let go of it for a minute, and we bring our knowledge and our thoughts and our questions to this challenge. We support the mentors and we work with them so that they're not just instantly jumping on solutions, and we really tease out, how is it these come about, these challenges. We try and peel back the layers of the onion before, and think about different factors, different considerations, some of us might have had some similar experiences or not, and we'll draw some thoughts and conclusions and initially get into what it's about and then make some suggested challenges or some thoughts and ideas. We then invite the mentee back to see what have they made of what they've heard so far. And it's a funny one because you'll feel frustrated. You'll think, oh, I should have said this. I've already tried that. But there'll be bits of what the sounding board says that will be useful. It'll be reaffirm things. It may make you go and revisit something you discounted. It may pop up with something new that you hadn't thought of. Certainly some contacts, hopefully, and routes forward. And we'll then spend a little bit of time digging into things that you want to discuss further. And then towards the end, we'll just find out, if you had access to some of that money, what would you spend it on? Why do you need this right now? And then we'll just ask you for any thoughts that you're taking away. But it's your networking opportunity. It's you take your own notes, and you make the most of it in that little session. And as I've said, although there are these little sounding board sessions, there are other activities going on at Dish, which is a space just opposite the town hall in Manchester where the event's being held. And there's space to chill out. There's space to go to a couple of workshops around the edges of what it is you're doing. There's that soup event in the evening for anyone that wants to make a longer day of it or just wants to come in the evening. We've also got Mac and other Flourish colleagues doing some little case studies and some little interviews with people, so that we can help showcase and promote what you do. So it'll be a busy day, but hopefully it'll be a fun one. Anything final? So that's it from me, really. It was just a whistle stop. What on earth is this thing? I hope it's made sense. By all means, get in touch with us. I'm just seeing what I'll come for questions in a second. But yeah, I'll put links in the chat in a minute and they'll be on the YouTube sort of notes so people have got access to the stuff that they need to get in touch and apply. Like I say, short expression of interest, which is a Google form. The deadline's the 30th of December, just to give us a few days to sift and sort. But there's a good chance that so long as you're a social enterprise, charity, community organisation, you're based in Manchester or you're impacting Manchester, that we'll be inviting you to come to a sounding board session if you've asked for one. We might get overwhelmed, but we'll find a way to fit people in. And that's it as much as we need. I'm going to put the other bits in chat. I want you don't need to see that. So that's it. So if people are happy enough, I might just take a couple of questions whilst we're recording, just because there might be questions that people might have asked had they been here. So Erica, I think you've got a question.
Yeah, thank you for that. It's a really good presentation. I got a lot from it. I was just
Mm.
wanted to clarify, is it both the 7th and 8th of January? Because for some reason I just thought it was the 7th of January. So
We're
it,
running
I
it
would,
for 2 days. So basically, we're doing 2 days of the same sort of format. So people don't come for both days unless they
right.
really want to. Basically, you just come for the 45 minutes to an hour sounding board session that you've been offered. But
Yeah.
then what will happen is, when you see the program of what else is going on, you might decide, actually, I'm going to come for a bit longer because I want to come to these things. And there might be some people we might ask, whilst you're coming in for your own sounding board session, might you stay a couple of hours before or a couple of hours after and be a mentor as well? So once we see who's coming and once we see what's going on, we sometimes ask people to stay a little bit longer for that. We realize people are busy as well. So what's meant to be will be. But for your purposes, 45 minutes is the minimum kind of time commitment other than getting in and out. You might come for a little bit longer for different reasons. If you've got, a quiet January and you see what's going on the 8th and you spot some workshops you want to come to, you're very welcome to do so.
Yeah. And so just a follow-up question. I don't want to take up too much time. When will we hear by? I'm just trying to work out, playing my diary and such. Were we likely to hear whether we've
So
been
as soon as
successful or
so
not?
if you get your application in before the 23rd
Right.
of,
Yeah.
I break up on the 23rd. Whatever I've read and seen by then, between me and my team, you'll be notified. So the sooner you get your form in, the sooner we'll let you
Yeah.
know. We'll try and let you know in the next week and a half.
I sent mine in, so
Perfect.
yeah.
We're just giving it a few days whilst the call out's live. But so I think we'll start looking at these, and by Monday next week, we'll start emailing people. So as they trickle in, the response and the options will be confirmed. As many as we can confirm before Christmas is better for us, just
Perfect.
for our own knowledge of rostering and all of that sort of stuff. But if people just need a little bit more time and they need to get, the festive period could be a quiet time to get stuff done. Don't get me wrong, it may not be for some people, but you've got till the 30th to get an expression of interest in. And
Lovely.
then
Thank you.
any
Thank
other
you.
questions at this point?
Yeah, thank you, Nikela.
Mhm.
Really, really was useful for me, especially because I always ask you to have a training about mentoring or something like this.
Mm,
And coming for 2 days, it is 7th and 8th.
mm.
You are gonna send the full program, yeah? For the first
Yeah,
day
we'll,
and the
we'll
second
send
day.
you
Yeah,
all you'll what will happen is you'll see here are the three workshops happening on day one, here are the three workshops happening on day two,
yeah.
and here's what the soup event is all about. And then people can pick and mix, and we'll offer them a session. So when you fill in your expression of interest form, we ask you when are you available and what's the best time for us to try and book a slot for you for your sounding board session. So we try and accommodate people as much as we can. But it's fiddly, but we do our best. And then it's up to you how much or how little you come for.
Yeah, I'm
You're
gonna,
not
yeah.
expected to come for 2 days unless you're able or you need to and want to.
So I'm gonna look at the both programs on the both days, and
Mm.
I will see which one I'm interested and I need to tackle all the challenges that I had so far with my
No problem.
organization. So,
That's all
and
right.
this one, the other thing. So, there is any possibility to have one-to-one mentoring, or we will have it like as a group? So,
So if people are on our Time to Grow program,
yeah,
which some people on this call are, there is some one-to-one support. So yes, where we're catching up with people, for example, at our multicultural Christmas event that's coming up on the 16th of December, or
yeah,
we've got other events in other areas where we're following up with people on these programs, one-to-one support. There'll be a couple of one-to-one mentoring sessions anyway to help you think through where you're at. So this is a separate thing. This is like a group, almost like a group mentoring, rather than just pick my brain or Jenny's brain or Abby's brain and we support you through your planning and thinking. This is a
okay,
great way of getting lots of expertise at once
okay, perfect.
and lots of
So, I
reassurance, hopefully, at once.
Yeah. So I want just to ask you, would you like to send me this presentation,
Mm,
please?
yeah,
Okay.
we'll send this
Okay,
out.
when we finish.
That's
Thank you
fine.
so
And there'll
much.
be a little link, a listen again link that we'll be sending out to people that you can share with other people who might find it of interest. And it will be going across social media for people for this today. And then we've got a follow up, exactly the same session, give or take, happening on Monday lunchtime, I think it is, or next week. I can't remember now, but next week. And for anybody who couldn't make today.
Thank you
Is that
so
all right?
much.
So I'm going to stop sharing and stop recording for now. And if people have got other questions, we can take those offline. Just because I know there's a couple of people who've arrived, and I just want to say hi. So yeah, for anyone who's thinking of applying, please do and drop us a line or fill in the forms and get in touch, and we'll soon help as quick as we can. Thanks.
Thank you.